here. I remember clearly when Kennedy spoke at Rice. I remember marching in. We filed in. We were freshmen with our beanies, I think, all very well organized. We sat in the middle of the stadium. It was on this side, right in the middle. Kennedy was on the field, probably on the warning track, whatever, not the warning track, but the track. He spoke. I remember seeing him. I remember being not entertained, but it was interesting. It was very interesting. I do remember what he said, but of course I remember clearly now, maybe more than I did then, because I've seen it or read it a number of times since. And it happened, and we clapped, I'm sure, and we walked out. And I'm not sure that very many of us really understood the import, which also was amazing to me. I mean, that an American president would come to talk to the freshman class at Rice. He wasn't even talking to the whole school, and my guess is it was not the school, it was the freshman class. This was very much during freshman week. And so there was no upperclassmen, I don't think, I'm pretty sure of this, and there was no faculty, basically. It was our freshman class. Pretty amazing. One of the things that we did, which I was very proud of it, but it was just a symbol of a lot of things that were happening. We put on the first in college production here, and I think when I was a junior, Lawson Tate, my classmate and still good friend, was the genius behind it. I was just the production guy. I think that Rice, when I was here, was at a very important stage. 2 years before I came, Time magazine had an article about Rice. And it was quite a nice feature, it was maybe, I don't know if it's a whole page or not, but a very good article about Rice. And they talked about this wonderful school and how good it was, and it was free. And that spring, I think it was happening in the fall, that spring, the applications from Delaware, New York, and Montana, and the kind of the ex-Texas contingent that looked to Rice and wanted to come to Rice went up dramatically. I think we benefited from that. And the other thing that happened, and I'm not quite sure who fathered this, it could have been Pitzer, who was the president then, but the years that I was here, and starting a year or two before, and continuing for a year or two after, witnessed a huge influx of very good liberal arts people. These were the years when Grove came in, and Isle came in, Grady came in, Galambos was really iconic Rice liberal arts and economics professors came in, and it was very much to our benefit. I mean, it turned this into an extraordinarily lively, intellectually lively case.